This is a City News special report.
I couldn't believe it. This is, first time in the history of the United States that somebody attacked a cowardly act like this. It's unbelievable.
I cried. I cried. I really did.
I was just scared.
September 11th, 2001, another day of infamy in American history, is a day that will change the fabric of this nation forever.
And if we don't put a stop to it, which we should, then we don't know. I mean, we really can't even be safe.
They want everybody to be afraid, and so you can't be. You do have to move on with your life.
Every city's on high alert, especially cities like Hawthorne, that is only 3 miles away from the original destination of 3 of the planes that turned to bombs.
We thought that we might have some terrorism out in this end, especially at Los Angeles Airport.
Hawthorne residents, like the rest of the country, are still feeling the deep shock of this ravaging act of war. They say they want to see justice served to those who are responsible.
Get the people punished who are behind this, Get the key people, not the innocent people.
War is not a good thing, but as you've seen in history, it's necessary.
But for some who are believed to share the same faith as the suspects, the aftershock of the attack is felt on different levels.
It's unimaginable that a man who belongs to any religion would do something like this, thinking that he's doing something good.
Threatening calls were made to the local Islamic center, leading Hawthorne police to patrol the area. It is their hope that the entire Islamic community is not vilified for the shameless acts of a few.
Islam is a religion of peace. It's not a religion that's based on war.
The Quran tells us that killing one person is just like killing the whole world.
But while some have unjustifiably lashed out at local Muslims, most Hawthorne residents are aware that they are not to blame, and they don't want to see the suffering of any more innocent people.
I don't think that, for one instant in my mind that they sat back and said, okay, we're plotting along with our brothers in the Middle East.
It's the worst terrorist act to ever hit the soil of this nation. And while communities around the country, like Hawthorne, grapple with how to respond, we are reminded not to turn our frustration toward one another, but to instead use this national crisis as a time for peace and solidarity as a people. We now turn our attention toward the situation at Hawthorne Airport with reporter Marissa Yamani.
It was an eerie sight at the Hawthorne Airport, a ghost town. Not even one plane starting its engine.
The FAA lifted restrictions on certain air carrier type of operations. That does not affect Hawthorne Airport. Operations here at Hawthorne are still restricted to the ground. They may not leave.
However, there were a couple of planes here allowed to take off, such as these Merlins, air taxis that seat 19 people. This one in particular may soon be on its way to New York as a charter. While the Hawthorne Airport is not as bustling as LAX, it still is usually pretty busy.
We have typically approximately about 500 air operations a day. On different days, we may have it even greater.
Those who are most affected? Commuters such as employees of Northrop Grumman. The company flies its workers between Hawthorne and Palmdale on a daily basis. As for new security enforcements,
we do not allow people just to walk onto the airport. That will not change. As to whether or not there will be additional security procedures and requirements down the road, we'll just have to wait and see.
Now, as to when things here at the Hawthorne Airport will return to normal, officials say they don't know, and it definitely won't be for a while. If you have any questions, call the manager's office. For HCTV, I'm Marissa Yamane.
This is a City News special report.
All over
the city of Hawthorne, you'll find people coming together to mourn the September 11th tragedy. Outside City Hall, a candlelight vigil takes place in honor of those victims and their families.
To come together and show our strength together for everyone involved in this situation, those that have passed, those that are still missing, our public safety personnel, the volunteers, and those that are still missing, the families also of everyone involved.
Mayor Guidi offered words of hope and peace.
Regardless of your nationality, your beliefs, we need to unite, and we need to expand and not look at all people, just the people that have created this harm. After I'm through here, I'm going over to the Islamic Center to show my support, to show them that they are part of our community and that this racism, discrimination, doesn't play a part in this.
One Australian family stuck here due to canceled flights reminds us all this incident is felt on a global level.
We also know that at least 100 Australians are missing. And I'm sure there's hundreds of people from other countries missing in the disaster too. So it touches the whole world, not just America really. So we're here where it's obviously the impact is the greatest, but it is a national event, but really it's a worldwide event, and there's loss all over the world and consequences for families everywhere.
أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله.
Across Hawthorne, at the Islamic Center, Muslim people also gather to mourn the recent tragedy.
Well, in general, I could safely say this was one of the toughest days of our life as Muslims in America, because our loyalty to America is being put on trial, unfortunately, for things we haven't done, we haven't chosen for them to occur, but for some reason we're being blamed for through the stereotype. In Southern California, we've received many reports of death threats to mosques, harassment against Islamic, people of the Islamic faith, Muslim students basically at schools, by their classmates, by their teachers, and unfortunately sometimes even.
Mayor Guidi also attended and offered his words of support in this time of crisis.
If you need me, you need my city, you need my friends, we're here for you. Just reach out and ask.
During this time of crisis, you may not see much rejoicing throughout the streets, but you will see people from all walks of life uniting as one.
In a place where kids are usually worrying about their grades, ways to be popular, and who their best friends are, Hawthorne Middle School students take time out to help those across the nation.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
These three girls pledge a lot more than just their allegiance. They have dedicated countless hours of time to initiate and carry out a program to aid the victims of New York and Washington.
The teachers and the students all felt the tragedy in their own ways, and Meekin, Marissa, and Elizabeth came to me. They had already researched the idea of raising funds for the American Red Cross and asked if we couldn't do something as a school to help those who really needed it.
Well, I felt sorry for the victims that lost their loved ones, so I wanted to do something special for them.
Well, I've been watching TV and how people have been donating blood, and I wanted to do that, but you have to be 16 and a weight limit, and I couldn't do that. So me, Meekin, and Elizabeth were surfing on the web, and we saw this thing that said donate. So we went to the principal, and we asked her if it would be okay if we did a fundraiser, and we did.
After collecting donations from each homeroom for a week, the results put a bright smile upon the girls' faces. A whopping $1,009 was the fruit of their labor. And how do they feel about this?
Great. Very excited. Yeah. Very proud.
Some students just give like $5 or $1. Some teachers donated $50.
It's cool because I didn't think we'd raise that much. I think we raised like $100 or something, but we raised $1,000. It really shocked me.
It is shocking to find out how deeply the tragedy has hit everyone, and amazing how far a little stretch to collect spare change from 12 and 13-year-olds can go.
We just, feel deeply for all the families that were affected back in New York, and hope that in some small way we can be part of the recovery effort.
Amidst America's time of trial and mourning, Hawthorne Middle School students go on with their daily activities knowing that they have contributed to their nation in a great way. The American Red Cross continues to accept donations of any kind for the victims and families of September 11th. For more information, call 1-800-HELP-NOW. Susie Suh, HCTV.